Good afternoon, evening. This is Real with Robo. Um, I know a lot of people are worried about the missing submersible named the Titan, and I just listened to a press conference by Rear Admiral John Mauger. The Coast Guard updated after they found a debris field near the Titanic wreckage during the missing vessel search. I am not a journalist. I just felt that my peoples may need to know this. And I'm also going to be deciphering some of the stuff that was said for you. Okay, so the ROV from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone from the submersible Titan. Basically what they did is they found the nose, okay, in a the tail cone. I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is why I'm not a journalist. They found the tail cone from the submersible in a debris field.
That's made out of titanium, by the way.
He'll be helping me because he knows all this technical stuff. The Unified Command experts say it is consistent with a catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. So what that means is that either they got down too far or something happened and they lost the pressure chamber, which means the submersible imploded. And when you think of implosions, it's not that it sucked it in, and squished up like a tin can. Implosions in the water, they blow out. So think of a boom and something blowing up like a grenade or something like that. That's basically what an implosion is. It's not an inside explosion. It actually blows out. Okay. The families were then notified when they found that, and they have been in contact with the British and French Consul General. It was found 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seabed. The ROVs will remain on scene and gather more info. So what they're doing is now they're just going to dig through everything and see what they see and see if there's, information, maybe some hints, some clues on what happened, when it happened, why it happened, all that stuff. Then Rear Admiral said that he would take questions. One of the questions was the delay in deploying this ROV, and a search for these people did it have anything to do with anything? And the basic answer to that question is no. But his answer is it was an incredibly complex case and they're working right now to develop a timeline. So what they're saying is that basically this all happened in an instant, and unless they would have deployed it before this happened, nothing could have been done about it.
They had sonar buoys in the water for the past, 3 days.
Don't get ahead of us.
Okay, sorry.
This is why we're not journalists. But see, what they're saying is it wasn't a loss of air that killed these people. God rest their souls. May they lay with Leviathan in peace. And it wasn't, due to a gas leak or nothing like that. Okay, so they wouldn't have been able to save them at all. No matter when they deployed, unless they deployed beforehand, they knew what was going to happen, if you could go back in time, that kind of thing. But the simple fact is they didn't die from exposure. They didn't die from, the rest of that. They died from the implosion or explosion. And make it easier, explosion, but I'm going to still say implosion because then you'll know.
Well, that's technically what it was an implosion.
The debris found. So they were asking what was the debris that you found that made you think that like this was the Titan. And for that, the Rear Admiral John Mauger, he brought up an expert, in debris and, all that stuff. Basically a debris whisperer, okay? So it was found 2 miles beneath the surface of the water. It was mostly pressure chamber parts. They found 5 specific pieces, major pieces. Okay, so basically these pieces you wouldn't live without. That's basically what he's saying. One was the nose cone outside of the pressure hole. And like my husband was saying, that is made of titanium. So it's like really tough. But it like blew off the nose cone. The second thing they found was another debris field. Okay? So this is in the same large debris field. And in that debris field, they found the nose cone and the front end bell of the pressure hole. So that's like the inside. Okay, you got an outside, you got an inside. That's where, all the pressure magic happens. I think.
Yes.
Okay, that's where the pressure magic happens. See, I told you, I don't know all this stuff. I just know how to decipher the language.
The bell is the part that you see on the outside that kind of gives it its it's what they call hydrodynamics, so the water passes over it easier. But the actual pressure hold component they're talking about attaches to the inside of it. So if it blew off the exterior cone and the pressure cap,
blew off the whole front end and it separated. It's crazy. And that was the first indication that there was a catastrophic event. So basically you need a lot of pressure in order to not just blow off the front end, but also blow those pieces apart, I guess. And then they found a second debris, a smaller debris field. And the other end of the pressure hole, the aft end bell, was found in that debris. Okay, so that's the 5 major parts that they found. They found 3 of the main pieces in 2 different debris fields. So all that debris, all that like shattered glass is like the carbon fiber that it was made out of. Because carbon fiber, when it explodes, or in this case implodes, it shatters. Which is kind of weird to me because I think carbon fiber and I'm thinking like, oh, well, like metal strands woven together. But that's not how it is.
carbon strands woven together. Close.
The debris field is going to continue to be mapped. So basically they're going to continue to dig through there to see if they can find any reason why it happened. Like, maybe a fan blew off or bolt popped or
bad pressure seal
or something like that. That's what they're basically doing now. Now they're like scouting for the reason why it happened. And another news reporter, they asked, what are the prospects for recovery of the people? And the admiral answered, it's incredibly unforgiving environment. And if you think like, most divers go about 900 feet down.
Well, no.
Oh, submersibles.
900 meters is the maximum that any of our Navy subs.
I said feet.
Yeah.
I didn't say meters.
Yeah, but I'm talking about for a human.
Yeah, human. How far did they go down?
Uh, uh, Safely, no more than 200, 250 feet at the most.
I thought I saw like a scuba show. See, this is also why I'm not a
If
journalist.
you're in a pressurized suit, yes, but if you're free diving, no.
I thought I saw one where they had like different tanks of different gases to mix in there so that they could stay like pressurized.
Yeah, they're in a pressure suit.
Okay. Well, I'm dumb. You see, I'm dumb.
Sorry, I'm a diver. In case y'all didn't know.
I'm not. I'm not a Marine. I'm not aquatic by nature. Matter of fact, I wouldn't get in a sub in a kiddie pool. Number one, I'm claustrophobic. Number two, I'm too paranoid. Look, if you try and get me out there in that depth of water, okay, if it's more than 5 feet, because I'm 5'7", okay, let's get real here for a minute. Let's put this aside and let's get real here. I'm 5'7", so I got 7 inches on that water. If it's more than 5 foot, maybe in the 6 foot, I'll venture, I'll go into the 6 foot, maybe the 8 foot. But I got to be able to get up out of there when I want to get up out of there, and I don't want to be in like a bubble to where I have to be depressurized and all this happened and I'm stuck in here and I can't get on land. Okay? I don't do that. He does that. He likes that. Him, not me. Me, I'm very happy in a bathtub. Okay? That's a happy day. Right there. Get Robo in a bathtub. That's my deep sea diving. Okay? So, where was I? It's an incredibly unforgiving environment. Now, me personally, when I think how far it was down, and I believe he said 2 miles.
Thereabouts.
So, that's a long ways down. And like, I'm thinking if it's big enough to have like this little ROV and the submersible and the Titanic down there, it has more things down there that are bigger than me. And they're accommodated with space. And I'm not okay with that, guys. But it's very unforgiving. Plus, you've got to think of, with depth, it comes freezing cold water and darkness.
That's another thing. Water temperature at that level is below freezing.
So, the debris is consistent with catastrophic implosion. Once again, an implosion in the water actually means an explosion, meaning it goes boom out. So, what they're saying here, they'll continue the search, but they don't have an answer. Basically, what he's saying is, from all of what he said, is that with an implosion, they probably won't be able to recover the bodies. And, I don't want to get all disgusting with it because, I respect the families and stuff like that. But I wouldn't hold out too much hope that, there's going to be bodies found. Because it's such an unforgiving environment. And because of the implosion and all that. I mean, if they would have suffocated, a lot of scientists say that their bodies would have been mummified or preserved, but that did not happen. So I'm not going to go into that because it's already making me cry thinking about the families, and that hurts. I'm just really emotional about this because it really hurts to think that this all could have been prevented. And it hurts me to think that there is a mother out there and a wife out there and loved ones out there and friends out there that are going to be missing their loved one and their friends because, I'm just going to say it, complete, just unfettered ignorance. And I would imagine greed. I'm going to put that out there. And like I said, I am angry because of the poor families and their friends and their loved ones. I'm angry about that. But God bless the people that went out there, because they're, like a friend told me, when we were all sad about this in the chats I go to, it's like without their adventurous nature, we wouldn't know anything. We would just know nothing at all without people like them. So God bless them and their adventurous nature. They shouldn't have went like this, but I guess the consolation is they went doing something they loved and something they were excited about. Another question was, did the sub collide with the Titanic? And for this one, he brought up another expert. And the location, he said from the location, 1,600 feet from the wreck of the Titanic, was a debris field. Okay, so it's like it wasn't close, and there was no debris of the Titanic in the debris field. So like if you crash against something or rub up against something, you're going to transfer that something. If you implode near something underwater, you're going to have some of the bits of the Titanic in the debris field. It's also a smooth bottom. So from what it sounds like, it imploded by itself, and then the debris fell down onto the seabed.
In case you're wondering, 1,600 feet is about a third of a mile.
That's a long way down.
That's a long way off from the Titanic.
He also said that the debris field was consistent with the last time that they had communications. So he's basically saying that it may have happened to cause the loss of the communications, or it may have been right around that time. So, before the search, they even knew it was needed. And also, it was categorized an implosion in the water column. This got me confused because he never stopped to take a breath and go, okay, there's a period, so I know this is a new sentence. Okay, and there's a different meaning. The water column basically is a collision that happens on land or in the air or in the water. So that's the water column, okay? So an implosion, a collision, an explosion, or a sinking. And he said that it was definitely an implosion in the water. Another person asked what the Rear Admiral thought was the timing situation. So when did it happen? And he said, we don't know, it's too early to tell. And basically, I know you're but the expert just said it happened around the time that they lost communications. Well, if you know rear admirals and generals and people like that, they don't want it happened around this and that time. They want an exact time, an exact place, an exact, or at least a close to exact. So if the expert would have said, oh yeah, they lost comms because of it, then he would have been okay, that's why. But right now they're still, investigating when it happened, because they want a better look at when it happened. He also said that 72 hours or a little more since they've been out there, they've had sonar buoys in the water, and none of them showed an implosion. So when they got there, the submersible had already imploded. It was already gone, because the sonar buoys would have picked something like that up. And like he said, it's like, you know, you would have heard that on sonar. Something like that, a catastrophic implosion would have been like boom, and come out real, like, just magnificent on the sonar. Another person asked, what happens the next phase? You know, what are you guys going to do now? And he said he's going to continue to investigate the debris, basically finding out when, what, why, all those things, how, where exactly all of this went down. So basically he's going to have a full-on investigation. And he wanted to remind us that it happened in a remote portion of the ocean, dealing with several people from around the world. So he's basically stating there that it's way out there. In order to get resources way out there, they have to wait a little while. Plus, on top of that, they have to deal with all these different nations, all these different policies, all these different regulations, red tape galore, all that stuff. And then the last person asked, did the time factor in, or anything that could have prevented this? Short answer, no. But you know that I am salty and I'm sour about this, so the long answer, yes, it could have been prevented. And this is just me talking. This is not the Rear Admiral, okay? This is me. Let me make that distinction here. Because from what I've read and what many others have read, one of the texts said this was not seaworthy, that something bad was going to happen. This was not a good idea. You know, waivers came out, and anytime waivers come out, you know it's all bad.
I believe his exact words were, this is a suicide run.
And that was either the tech that got fired or forced to resign or quit or something like that. Okay, that's basically what happened. And quite frankly, when I saw, because I don't want the company suing me, when I saw what it was navigated by, I mean, granted, they may use that in the Navy as well for some things. But, like, the first question I would have, being who I am, is, has this thing been beta tested? It was a controller. I'm not saying by who, I'm not saying for what. I'm just saying it was a gaming controller.
A video game controller, yeah. I was gonna put that in there for you.
Thank you. A video game controller, because I am not going to say the name. I'm not getting in this mess, and quite frankly, I'm already angry enough, so I don't need to raise my blood pressure anymore. Because I feel for the families. So, if I could do one thing, I wish I could have been like, hey, Coasties, you need to follow that vessel and make sure everything's okay. Because last night I put on there because I thought that we were still going to find them. And I put on ideas. Maybe, you know, it would like ding ding bells and get them to think more on how to find them. And then when I found out that they found a debris field, I was brokenhearted. I was literally hurt for the families, because these people, granted, they were explorers, they were scientists, they were experts in their field, they were, you know, curious people. And I'm a curious person, but it's like so much knowledge, so much intelligence, so much is lost with them. And I pray to God that the families from Britain, all the friends from Britain, Pakistan, France, wherever they're from, they all feel the love and support and the absolute condolences from all around the world. And I personally pray that the people who suffer through this tragedy, the family and friends and loved ones, may they eventually find the ability to remember these wonderful scientific explorers, intelligent minds with happy memories, with joy in their hearts. I pray that time comes to them, and I pray that it isn't in the far future, that it's in the short future. It's soon, that they're able to celebrate their lives because they meant a lot. Their exploration, their curiosity meant a lot to the world. And I'm so sorry for their losses. May the Lord bless you all and keep you all. May he make his face to shine upon you all. May he look upon you with favor and grant you his peace. And that's Real with Robo.